All right, we're live. All right, back by popular demand. And by popular demand, I mean my mom liked the show, so I thought we'd bring it back. This is what we call the Nerdy 30. All right. This is where we come together and talk about nerdy topics for 30 minutes. It's a really creative name. Before I intro our guests, a little context on the series. Again, once the conversation starts, I'm going to put a timer on the screen counting down from 30 minutes. At the end of 30 minutes, an alarm will go off, and at that point, the discussion will be over. Anything left to be said will be said, but it won't be here. All right, we'll find another way to say it. However, if you're on the live stream and you have any questions or comments during the session, including any comments about our intro music that's brand new that we just had that I hope you liked, feel free to throw those in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Hey, look, this is our fourth Nerdy 30 so far. And you can check out the other three on our YouTube channel at, wait for it, youtube.com/@expel security. Give us a follow there. Tons of great long and short form content produced on the reg, on the weekly, a lot of great stuff coming at you. But today, we have a very special session for you on the state of the MDR market. Some of you may know this. The Gartner Market Guide for MDR recently came out. By the way, you can get a complimentary copy right here at expel.com/Gartner. It's a really great piece. In fact, let me throw this up here. So this is the Gartner Market Guide. As you can see here, there are recommendations if you're in the market for an MDR. There are preferred vendors. There are differing hot topics in the industry like AI. How does that fit in? Maybe the AI SOCs. Where does that come in? Even things like platformization. You can check out all of that stuff in here, and a lot of that stuff we're actually going to be talking about here today on this session. Again, if you're interested in downloading that, go to expel.com/Gartner. You'll see that link a couple more times today. All right. In conjunction with the release of that guide, I figured I'd invite none other than our newly minted chief strategy officer, and our VP of product marketing to hash out some key themes in the report. And I'm going to go ahead and invite in those guests right now as we speak, and then I'm going to give some intros. All right. So there's the product marketing guy and our chief strategy officer. All right. So who are these people? Justin Biko, correct? Yes. All right, good. Justin is a co-founder of Expel and is our newly appointed chief strategy officer. It's Justin's job to set and oversee our corporate and product strategy, ensuring that all teams are marching to the same beat and maintain Expel's position as the world's leading MDR provider. I spent a good bit of time fretting about the University of Tennessee's football program. That was not me. It was in there, Justin.
Wow.
It was in there. It wasn't me. Justin has been what do you say?
It's true.
It's true. I know. It's true. Justin's been involved in information security and managed services since after the turn of the century. Prior to Expel, he was a senior director. Listen, I'm just reading what's on the sheet. He was a senior director of global service delivery for FireEye's managed service, FireEye as a service. Justin was responsible for building and managing FireEye security operations centers around the world, including a staff of more than 80 analysts. Pretty awesome. Prior to FireEye, Justin was a managing director for Mandiant's Managed Defense Service, one of the industry's first managed detection and response providers. And before that, Justin was at Symantec, where he worked a number of roles within their managed service business. Justin, hey, thanks for joining us.
I'm happy to be here, living the dream, love the intro music, very excited.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a little toe tap going on. It was good stuff. And last but certainly least, not least. Sorry, Ruben Rodriguez, the product marketing guy. At Expel, Ruben leads the product marketing, analyst relations, and competitive intel teams. Ruben has had a varied background working both within the cybersecurity and payments industries, a risk career focusing both on the product management and product marketing disciplines. He likes to work with security organizations to help them craft messaging and stories that resonate with enterprises of all sizes, which he does here. He has a diverse background, including money transfer operations, fraud prevention, and has been able to work for leading cybersecurity and threat prevention providers, spanning threat intelligence, SIM, EDR, SOAR, and threat hunting. Companies such as the one and only OG RSA Security, the OG, SSH Communication Security, IBM Security, Cyber Reason, and Recorded Future. Ruben, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here. I mean, turn of the century. Doesn't that make you feel young, Justin?
Good turn.
You turn the line because I think it started in like 2001. That's like just with the turn of the century. But it also reminds me of somebody who the other day in a conversation, they were referencing some historical fact. I think it was Julius Caesar. And they were like, that guy's been dead for over 50 years. And I'm like, well, but I hate the way you said that.
That's true. That's true. Yes. He has been dead for 50 years. That's good. Even more so, some would say. That's good. Turn of the century. It is true. It is true. It's true. All right, let's do it. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to throw this timer up here. It's going to make a noise. There we go. All right. Let's do it. Justin, this first one's to you. All right, I'm going to throw this. Awesome. Congratulations on your new role as Chief Strategy Officer. For those who may not know your background, give us, I gave you a bio here. Give us more of sort of a quick overview of your journey in MDR and what this new role specifically means for you within Expel.
Well, having been involved in information security since after the turn of the century, most of it has actually been in managed security in some way, shape, or form. So I started out just doing sort of like jack of all trades IT guy stuff, but also kind of owned security because nobody else did at a small pharmaceutical research company. And I moved to Symantec in 2005, where I worked in their MSS business and did a bunch of different things. I started out as an engineer on their SOC floor, working shift 24/7, that kind of stuff. Spent a bunch of time there, 6.5 years, I think. And spent my last couple of years there responsible for their security monitoring services. And now I was like, let's go do something new. Like, I don't want to, iterate on something that already exists. Let's go build something. And a bunch of my friends that I'd worked with had gone to Mandiant, and they all had great things to say about the place. And turned out Mandiant was building what was at the time called some kind of managed service. Nobody really knew what MDR was. Turned into MDR, one of the earliest MDRs, but they were building that. They needed somebody to come in and build or run a SOC, staff it with analysts, take it 24/7, that kind of thing. So I did that at Mandiant, where I stayed until about 18 months after the acquisition by FireEye, and then took a little bit of time out to recharge the batteries, and we started Expel. So for me in this role, it's pretty cool because I've been able to sort of watch the industry grow, evolve, go through different sort of transformations really since almost the outset. And so now to be able to be a part of like deciding, helping decide where we go and by extension, where we think the industry is going to go is a pretty cool thing.
That is cool. That is cool. That's cool. That's cool that you've been able to see it kind of rise, and now you're kind of guiding the ship here at Expel. So yeah, I mean, considering that, let's start with the big picture for you again, Justin. When you look at the MDR market today, what's your honest assessment? Again, you've kind of seen it from the beginning, and what does the landscape look like right now? I see you smirking. Is this going to be a hot take here?
I'll leave a hot take. If you said, "Hey, give me the answer in one word," right this very minute, I think I would say gross. But like, let me explain myself. Like the MDR market, so we've watched the market go from like managed services and MSPs to try to do security to MSSPs to MDR, right? And that's kind of where we've been. And now you see, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, right? But now you see all these AI SOC companies starting up, and is that the next evolution of the MDR market? Is that a totally different market? Everybody's sort of like trying to figure out how they stake their claim in one market or the other. My hot take here is that we're all in the same market together, right? We're all in the security operations market. There's a bunch of companies out there that need to keep themselves secure, and they want to figure out the best way to do it. Some want to do it themselves. Some want to do it in an outsourced way. Most of them probably need some kind of combination of those things, which is why I think we're sort of all in the same market together. We just really haven't realized it yet when it comes to MDRs and AI SOCs. So we're in a bit of a transformational moment right now. And when I say gross, what I mean is like, it's not super clear to everybody where they're going to stake their positions out, how they're going to stake their positions out. And that's why it's kind of feeling a little bit weird. Ultimately, I think it's probably going to be a really good thing for companies out there trying to secure themselves, because I think they'll probably end up with the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. Ruben, anything to add to that?
Well, not in general. I like the hot take that Justin had there. Gross is a good fun word. I mean, Cybersecurity, I don't know that we ever do ourselves favors. We always have to remember that the customer is paramount and protecting them is what's most important. And MDRs are there to do that. And there's going to be transitions and flows and technologies that get added. But at the end of the day, how are we helping our customers? That's what really matters.
Yeah, for sure. Justin mentioned AI SOC companies. Let's move in that direction. AI again, discussed a lot inside of the Gartner Market Guide that recently came out. Again, if you're interested, expel.com/Gartner and get a complimentary copy of that. Ruben, we're seeing this explosion of AI SOC companies. I think the last count, we're like at 40 plus and counting. They're popping up everywhere.
Right.
How do you see the relationship kind of between the MDR market as we understand it and this new emerging AI SOC category? Like, what's the relationship there?
Well, this is a good carry on to what I just said. Like, so in cybersecurity, if you've been going to RSA anytime for the past like 3 to 5 years, what have you noticed? AI is in front of it.
Everywhere.
It's gonna solve world peace. It's gonna take care of all your problems. And rightfully so. Is there an application where AI can be brought to bear? Yes. Can it help? Maybe from a technological standpoint, yes. Ultimately, kind of what Justin was saying, and kind of where I see it is we got to be very clear on what the outcomes are for our customers as a result of leveraging AI. And AI SOCs have come through, but at the end of the day, and in talking with their own customers, they like the idea of AI to some extent, but they always want it to be provable and explained. And at the end of the day, and this is where maybe Justin was going, we can get his take on it. There's the AI SOCs that have been the startups leveraging, I would say, the AI bandwagon to some extent, but they're then having to hire actual SOC analysts to supplement the technology they brought to bear to allow for the ultimate decisions to occur. Because in the industry we're in, and we kind of take it for granted, or we do it day in and day out, our customers are living and dying by what decisions are being made. And ultimately, they like the potential support of AI, but when decisions need to be made, they want the humans there. So, and that was a big takeaway that I got from the Gartner guide as well. But it's a firm belief that we have here at Expel. It's like humans are at the center of it. It isn't just AI. And yes, leverage AI to help the humans at the end of the day. That's my hot take on that one. What do you think, Justin?
I don't disagree. As with most things, I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. When you think about like human-led SOCs and AI-only SOCs, the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? Especially right now, where the technology is so new and everybody's still getting used to it, and everybody's still sort of understanding what it's capable of and what it's not capable of. One of my co-founders, our CEO, Dave Merkel, likes to say that just like the self-driving car, right? Like it's good, it's capable, but you want to have a human behind the wheel, because when you get into your neighborhood and you go starting to pull over in your driveway, you don't want the AI powering your self-driving car to run over your kid's cat, right? Same thing, a little dark, but same thing, right? So the answer is somewhere in the middle, at least for the foreseeable future. I think there's a ton of ways to, pardon the expression, there's a ton of ways to hyperscale the humans who are in the loop through artificial intelligence, whether it is letting the AI start to make decisions on behalf of the humans, whether it is taking some of the like manual click work that a human does and figuring out what needs to be done, going ahead and doing that for them, or whether it is the sort of the adjacent work that makes a SOC great, like detection engineering and using AI to create detections on the fly. All of that stuff can certainly hyperscale the humans who work in and around a SOC. They're not going to fully replace them, at least right now. And when I talk to our customers, Ruben, just like you, what they usually want to hear is like, well, how are you using it to make yourselves better? How are you using it to do what you're doing for me better, faster, with a better outcome, with more outcomes, that kind of thing, instead of how are you using it to get the humans out of the loop? Nobody's really interested in that right now, appropriately, because again, I think the answer is somewhere in the middle.
I think and Ruben, you can check me on this, but I think the verbiage that was used in the Gartner report was human-led, AI supported is sort of the way as far as they see it, Not the other way around, not AI led, human supported. It's very much the human front and center. Is that, I caught that right? Correct.
That's what our customers are telling us. And even though there's a lot of pressure across many industries overall to leverage AI, and even our own customer base, we've had recent meetings where they're like, yeah, I'm getting extreme pressure from up upon high to leverage AI. They're like, I'm very skeptical and want to know exactly what is happening with AI as far as security decisions are being made, because ultimately it only takes one mistake and there's a lot of unwinding and a lot of mess to be cleaned up. So they're not against it. They just want the human in the loop, and they want to be able to really at the granular level understand what was done and how, and if they can even provide feedback in that loop too.
Yeah. There's a lot at stake, like your kid's cat, right?
That's right.
That's an excellent, it's an excellent analogy, honestly. It's
right.
very good. It's very good. Justin, you mentioned us sort of having the same problem, everybody trying to solve the same problem fundamentally. Is there a different problem that AI SOCs are claiming to solve that maybe is different than what the original MDR market was trying to solve for? What does that look like out there?
That's actually a fascinating question. I don't think so, but
Yeah.
that's like, maybe that's doing, some of the folks that are out there doing really cool and interesting things a disservice, because I just don't understand well enough, the problem that they're out there trying to solve.
Sure.
Fundamentally, though, I feel like what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make it possible for organizations to keep themselves safe against nearly impossible odds, right? Like, people like to talk a lot about how defenders have to be right 100% of the time and attackers only have to be right one time. Like, that's a very difficult equation when you are a defender. And I think fundamentally, MDRs, AI SOCs, and sort of the convergence of those two things, where we, the MDRs, are adding more and more AI capabilities, we are doing it to try to tilt more of as many of the odds in our favor as we can, because the deck is pretty stacked against us. So, like, I don't think so. I don't mean to do anybody a disservice who is out there claiming to be solving some different problem, and I just haven't seen it yet. That's not what I mean. But I think fundamentally we're trying to solve the same problem on behalf of our customers.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like these companies are really just trying to achieve efficiencies, and to your point, keep their customers safe. Which at the end of the day is what we're trying to do at Expel as well, right? We're trying to achieve efficiencies and outcomes in order to keep our customers safe. It's just we believe that leading with the human is the way. It's the
And
way.
the efficiencies are necessary because there's never enough defenders.
That's right.
They just never will be. And so you have to make the few precious resources that you have, the ones that we have are precious, and the ones that companies that are out there doing it themselves have are precious. However many that you have, you've got to make them count. You've got to make them, got to try to 2x, 3x, 10x them as much as you can. And the way to do that's through technology.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. One more question on AI SOCs, and then we're going to pivot to platformization. Justin, I want you to whip out your crystal ball here. I know it's right. It's actually behind the piano over there. If you can get that, grab it.
It's here. Oh, no, it blurred my finger. I didn't.
It's all right. It's a background. No. Look, there's these AI SOC companies are raising a lot of capital. A lot of capital is being raised out there. What's your prediction on how it all shakes out? Like, can this market? I mean, again, there's 40 plus players out there. Can it really sustain? Like, what does that look like?
I'm not a venture capitalist.
Yes,
True. A PE guy. Do I think there's room for, the MDR players who are out there who are marching invariably more and more towards more AI SOC capabilities, plus 40-ish other, AI SOC? No, I don't. Like, I don't think there's room for that many. Do I think there's room for more? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because if you think about it, MDR providers, we have been, we are the ones solving the problems for customers who don't want to do it themselves. AI SOCs are solving the problem for customers who do want to do it themselves. We're all going to end up in the middle, I think, where we're just solving problems for as many customers as we can. But like, there's a lot of companies out there who have a lot of security problems that they need to try to stay ahead of. There's room for more competition in the market, and it'll be healthy competition because it'll push us all to be better. Do I think there's room for 50 of us to be like, really healthy, growing businesses? Probably not. how does that shake out? Like some will end up, consolidating and, hey, we've got a really cool piece of tech. You've got a really cool piece of tech. Let's put those two things together and make something really cool. Some will, get swallowed up by the larger providers who see a path to a really cool capability they can offer to their customers without having to buy it themselves or build it themselves. So they just go buy it. Some will take off, right? Like some will do just excellently. They'll grow huge businesses, all those sorts of things. We'll end up with probably at some point in the not too distant future, we'll end up with a reasonably sane size of a market, and it'll come about through acquisition, consolidation, and a few winners being declared.
That is such a great segue to our next section on market consolidation. It's almost, Justin,
right?
It's almost like you knew what was coming next. That's amazing.
He's strategic. He's got a lot of strategy there.
No, he found the crystal ball from underneath his piano. Good job. Ruben, I'm going to send this one to you first. We'll have you tee off on this section.
Okay.
Consolidation, market consolidation. We're seeing a lot of consolidation moves in the in cybersecurity in general. I mean, this is something that the market guide speaks to, but the MDR market guide, I can guarantee you every market guide within cybersecurity, any cybersecurity segment speaks to market consolidation. It's happening all over the place. Lacework, it's where I worked before Expel. Market consolidation, like it's happening everywhere. We got Zscaler acquiring Red Canary, Google and Wiz, Pan and CyberArk. Also, this broader trend within MDR, outside of MDR even, is platformization, right? Platformization. Let's talk about that. Like, what is driving platformization, and how should customers, prospects, kind of be thinking about this trend we're seeing?
Well, first I have to say that word is really hard to say for me.
It is
platformization, whatever. You know what you said it.
5 syllables. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for me on a daily basis just to say those many syllables together. Well, those of us that have been in cyber for a while, some from the OGs, turn of the century, you've seen the pendulum go back and forth in terms of how, businesses operate. And then there's cyclical business situations that occur where they're under, financial pressures, or they've got to cut costs and do things like that. So I think one example is many organizations out there are under pressure to consolidate and save money. And that also applies to security budgets. Like originally, security budgets were basically wide open. You could spend money until you're blue in the face and you could go with whoever you wanted. Now there's pressures to actually consolidate. And with some organizations and the bigger platforms, they have the platforms that allow that to occur because they have a breadth, or at least a big enough portion of different security tools that they've acquired or put onto their platforms to allow that to occur. Now, that's a positive side to some extent for organizations out there. Now, the other side of that is many organizations are then faced with a choice. Like, I have to go with the platform play, but does it have all the technical capabilities and the things I want? Or what if something net new from the security industry is coming in? How do I get a hold of that? And then how does it work with my platform? So it's actually a two-sided coin. And overall, within a market such as cybersecurity, which is so broad that there's different segments within it, there'll always be consolidation if there's a lot of players. MDR is just one example of that. There's a ton of MDR providers. But at the end of the day, customers of ours or organizations out there are forced with decisions to be made. Maybe it's purely financial. Some are looking for quote unquote best of breed, which is an interesting thing to say in security. But ultimately, the security organization, the security operations team will always be looking for what they can get to help them protect themselves the best. And that will be, I think, an ultimate deciding choice for them. And they need to be cognizant of that, whichever path they choose. So there are trade-offs in both situations.
Yeah, that makes sense. Justin, anything to add to that? I feel like even that the next question that we had ties into that, which is, what forces will push the pendulum back the other? Again, it's a pendulum that swings, right? Best of breed, platformization, like what forces, and Ruben kind of alluded to this, will push that pendulum back, right?
Yeah, Ruben said it, and that is the fact that, traditionally speaking, maybe we're in a different moment in time right now. Don't know. We'll find out. But traditionally speaking, the reason the pendulum swings back towards best of breed is because the technological advancements that happen specifically in cybersecurity happen faster than a lot of the platform players can either build capabilities themselves or find, acquire, integrate those capabilities into their platforms. And so what happens is customers, companies that are out there trying to keep themselves safe, they need to invest in some new widget from a security perspective. And it's a new thing. It doesn't exist in the platforms yet. And so then suddenly you make 2 or 3 of those investments, and guess what? You're right back into a best of breed scenario. And then eventually those technologies get swallowed up by some of the bigger players and they get integrated and consolidated into a platform. And now we're talking platformization again. And it's a little bit of a kind of a never ending cycle. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice dream, right? Like, the idea to be able to get the economies of scale of spending big dollars with one place and getting savings out of that directly, getting indirect savings out of having fewer vendors to manage. That's really nice. And then theoretically, the ecosystem benefits are really strong. We don't do a great job of this in cybersecurity, but I'm personally locked into the Apple ecosystem because it all works really well together, right? All the different pieces of hardware and software, they all integrate really well. You can hand off this thing to that thing. It just works really well together. And that's a nice promise. It just hasn't worked out that way in practice, partially because, again, there's only a few companies in the world like Apple that can do that kind of thing really well. And also because the nature of, again, the speed of advancement in technology and security in particular, it's just hard for the platforms to keep up. It's almost unrealistic.
Yeah. Ruben, you're sending around green text messages, aren't you? On group text messages.
Oh wow, you're gonna call me out.
Green bubbler, Ruben?
He is yes, and I'm proud of it, people. Proud of it. Yes, I have a droid. So there.
He is a green bubbler. I've never heard that before, but that's a great noun to use for
Can't believe it.
people like Ruben. No, that's good. That totally makes sense. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings evermore. Let's move then to kind of where we are as a company. Again, Justin, glad you're on here. This one, I give this one to you. Given everything we discussed, crowded market, AI hype, platformization, how are we positioning ourselves at Expel? Obviously, we've touched on some of this. Human-led, AI supported. That's definitely something that is core to who we are. It's been that way for years. But what's our strategic focus moving forward?
The short answer to this is we need to stay true to what we said when we started the company. And that is that it's important for us to meet our customers where they are. And that's going to change over time, right? And we see a lot more of our customers feel more comfortable with being able to do more security operations related things themselves than they would even have contemplated when we got started in 2017, 2018, right? And so being able to add capabilities, whether it's AI or otherwise, to our platform that lets customers, take a little bit more ownership of them, of their security operations, great. We should be able to do that. We need to be able to meet our customers where they are. Some customers are going to be in a place where they don't want it, they don't in a position to do any of it themselves. They just want to outsource the problem. Call me if there's an issue. Otherwise I'm really busy. We need to be able to meet those customers where they are. That means it's really important for us to know who our customers are, right? We're not out there chasing, the DoD, because they are a much more sophisticated and advanced organization than we think our sort of target customer is. But when we know who our customers are and we want to meet them where they are, that's, I think, our strategic focus. And it's going to be a combination of continuing to do what we've been doing all along on the MDR side, and then adding more and more ability for customers to get their hands dirty and start taking over the things that are more important to them to do themselves while we coexist alongside each other.
It's good. Ruben, got anything to add to that? It's a pretty good answer.
No, I'm not going to try to
our chief strategy officer.
They're like, come on now. No. Mouth shut. Done. Great.
I do have a question for you, Ruben. You're as our VP of product marketing, you're keeping an eye on evolving technology, always working very closely with the product team. And when you look out there, when you survey the landscape, what's What about the biggest opportunities for innovation in MDR from your perspective? Like where could where do those lie?
Well, I think if you step back for a minute and assess what an MDR provides, it's got to be distinct and differentiated, but measurable outcomes for our customers. So that's kind of like that's the baseline that kind of drives then what you choose to leverage to innovate with. And given that, and given the pressures that Justin alluded to, that everyone probably listening to this feels, if you're in the security industry, that you're under continual pressure, is you got to find ways to alleviate that pressure or bring forward a way to protect them better. So innovation would be leveraging ways to, one, stay ahead of the existing attack surfaces that we help protect for them, or net new ones that are coming. That kind of is a guarantee. There's going to be a net new attack surface, I think, that's coming forward. So how do we leverage the baseline ingestion of information and telemetry we have to help further protect them and do it better and more quickly? And if you kind of think of that, that's the response side, the detection and response side of what we bring to the table. I would almost say innovation here would also be able to help them bridge the vulnerabilities and preemptively do things more quickly or better to help protect them before something maybe even happens. So that's kind of nirvana, but I think that would be great where the innovation comes in. And that's assessing. Risk is a big word in our industry. It's kind of almost BS, but it depends how you apply it and the risk and how you measure the risk and what tools you're using to measure the risk to make it actually tactical to how you're deploying and fixing things. That would be, I think, another great place to innovate for. And I'm not going to say AI is a bad thing, but leveraging AI in ways that can
Of
take
course.
data sets and do things that it would have otherwise taken humans forever to do, but we can bring the human in to make those decisions. So AI, obviously, I'd be silly to not say we wouldn't be looking there, but we definitely are. And taking what we already have from AI and ML and expanding that to help our customers get the better outcomes. And that is measurable. MTTR, MTTD, MTTR, and stopping things in their tracks as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's good. Justin, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, like, so one of my other co-founder, Yannick, who I usually will never admit to having had a moment where he said a smart thing, but I'll admit it here in front of the entire internet. He said a smart thing. He said, he was like, look, I think his perspective is that the sort of onset of AI is at least as it will be at least as transformational as the internet. And I think that's a really interesting way to think about it. And if you think about it that way, the room for innovation absolutely skyrockets, and it's going to skyrocket that I can't even comprehend on how to think today. But just to give you an example, like if you think about innovating in something that's always been a little bit of a dark art in security operations is threat hunting. AI should be transformational for threat hunting, right? To be able to just take a piece of software and point it at a massive data set and just to give it some instructions and let it make its own logical deductions about what is an outlier and what looks fishy and kind of investigate that on its own. Like that's transformational. And you want to talk about hyperscaling human, and you take, gigs and gigs and gigs of data, and you have a piece of software that can run through that and draw conclusions where it would take a human hours, days, weeks, however long, months, depending on the maturity of your threat hunting program. That's transformational. And so from an innovation perspective, there's just, it's almost probably unbounded. So much so that we just don't even understand, I think, the potential right now.
Yeah, I feel like within cybersecurity, there's never been a shortage of data. There's a lot of data out there if you're doing it correctly. Now, that's also been sort of the bane of the SOC of the security analyst's existence if they're not treating that data correctly. A lot of times it turns into noise. And so to your point, Justin, practical use of AI is helping you filter through that data and actually like finding things of value, whether that's threat hunting or data gathering, for SOC analysts. There are, like you said, we're scratching the surface here, right?
Yeah. I mean, people say that threat detection and response is all about like looking for a very specific needle in a haystack made of needles. Like that's a hard job, right? And when you can leverage smart technology to help you make sense of that, you get a lot more efficient, you get a lot faster, you get a lot stronger really quickly.
Yeah, that's good. We got 45 seconds.
Thanks.
Ruben, no, real quick. If you could give
Right.
one piece of advice to security leaders, what would it be?
Okay. Well, change is constant.
Change is constant.
Change is constant, and you're gonna have to keep pivoting and changing your security program to adapt to those changes and assess the risks that you got to match the business needs you have. So know you're not alone and that it's always shifting. And also, the security industry, we're a cool crew. We like to help each other out. Reach out to others that are maybe in the same situation or look to others to help you. We're here to do that. So that's
All
what
you got time for, Justin, is an amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen, brother.
All right. And that is the end of the Nerdy 30. Give me the gong. There we go.
I
Here we go. All right. That was good. 30 minutes. Very good. Let's see if we had any questions. We don't have any questions, but that's okay. I have one. If you had the option to be haunted by either Casper or Patrick Swayze, who would you be haunted by? Ruben, you first. Just say it.
Patrick Swayze,
Of course.
of course.
I like, it was astounding to me that you even took a second to think.
Well, I thought about Casper. He could get around, but then
I'd be like, like kind of cute to have Casper floating around behind you, but the sways, man.
the Sways.
Yeah.
Nobody can dance like the Sways.
Yeah.
That's right. That's true. That's true. All right, good. That's a good question to end on. No, hey, look, this was great. Hey, thank you, Ruben. Thanks. And Justin, thanks for joining us. I thought this was a great conversation. Hey, look, the reality is a lot of you are probably watching this on the YouTube as well on demand. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those. Oh, here we go. We have a vote for Casper. He's the professional. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
It's a fair call out.
That's true.
It's ways. He's just very powerful.
He's the Sways. He's
Yeah.
the Sways. He definitely doesn't have. He's not a green bubbler. He's a blue bubbler for sure.
Holy shade. Okay.
Hey,
Hold on.
no, it's good. Hey, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. All three of us are on LinkedIn. You reach out to us within the YouTube comments. Within the comments, if you're watching this on demand on LinkedIn, all kinds of options. We'd love to talk to you. Finally, again, one last time, go give us a follow on YouTube, youtube.com/@expelsecurity. Again, lots of great content coming out on our YouTube channel. And of course, go to expel.com/Gartner to get that Gartner market guide, complimentary copy for you, talking about all the different things we touched on today. Again, Ruben, Justin, appreciate you. I'm going to hit our outro slide here. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Here we go.